So it's a brand new year, 2024, and already the farcical farces have started. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Omni Edson. I hope you're all well. So 2024 has started. We're in January. We've just had the announcement, of course, of the biggest farce in boxing. And that is Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua. And I say it's a farce because of this. Boxing has turned away from the proper way of doing things. Of building up your fights, building up your record in a boxing ring and beating better and better opponents until you can climb that ladder, and then eventually you can start challenging for titles, whether it's national titles, regional titles, national titles, or continental titles, or even world titles. But apparently we've now done away with that. Last year, we had Francis Ngannou against Tyson Fury in an exhibition match, which shocked the world because Francis Ngannou actually came in there with a bit of a game plan. Tyson Fury totally underestimated him, no matter what he says, and he almost got caught napping. But Francis Ngannou lost. No matter what people say, he lost. Then, in their infinite wisdom, the WBC then give Francis Ngannou a ranking in the top 15. Why? Because he's a former UFC champion and he got into a boxing ring with Tyson Fury in an exhibition match and he almost won, but he didn't. Is that why you give him a ranking? Hey, because he looked pretty good and yeah, he showed some boxing acumen and he took Tyson Fury to 10 rounds or whatever it was and he almost shocked the world. Well, he didn't though, did he? Yes, nobody was expecting that. Nobody was expecting Francis Ngannou to do as well as he did, and fair play to him. But I stand by what I said previously, that Francis Ngannou, at best, is a very baseline boxer. He's a very basic boxer. He went in there with great strategy. He went in there with some skills, with some fundamentals, but very, very basic. And I said soon afterwards, he will be found out straight away by any other boxer. Now, he's been given another opportunity against Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua just come off the 3 straight wins in 2023. He won the Day of Reckoning against Otto Wallin in convincing fashion. We're all expecting him to now fight Hrgovic, let's say, for the upcoming vacancy of the IBF title when Tyson Fury fights Usyk, and the winner will have to vacate the IBF title because they won't be able to fight the mandatory in time. We all know that this is the pathway. But we don't know the time frames. We don't know when the IBF will actually make them vacate that title. Therefore, Anthony Joshua and Hrgovic and the other boxers have to keep themselves busy, right? Okay, understand the logic. So why then does Anthony Joshua then fight a Zhilei Zhang? Why doesn't he fight any of the other top contenders in the boxing world? No, we have to go for another exhibition fight. Nothing's on the line here. We have to go for another exhibition fight. Now, you could say, well, Ngannou is now in the top 15 of the WBC, so therefore it is something on the line. No, it isn't. There's nothing on the line here. Anthony Joshua was saying that he's interested in world titles now, in becoming a 3-time world champion. Well, this is not the way to go, is it? And why is it that we're giving Francis Ngannou, who is a basic boxer, tough as nails, granted, basic boxer, all this latitude? He can just leapfrog everybody else and get into the ring with Anthony Joshua. He's already leapfrog everybody else in getting into an exhibition fight with Tyson Fury. Granted, exhibition, so yes, you could say, hey, that was the gimmick fight. But you can only do that once. You can't keep on doing it time and time again. And if you are doing it time and time again, then basically your career as a professional boxer is over. And I'm talking about Anthony Joshua here. Because now you've just helped the moneymakers and Saudi Arabia just sully the whole boxing world. They've dirtied the game. I'm so anti this fight, you would not believe. And for many different reasons. It's got nothing really to do with whether Anthony Joshua would beat Francis Ngannou, which I think he will. I think he'll beat him quite convincingly. Because now you've got data in Francis Ngannou. You know how he's going to go. You know how he's going to come at you. You know how he's going to work. So it's actually quite easy to figure him out. Tyson Fury, in all fairness, went in blind, and we know that. But he wasn't on top form as well. But he still worked him out whilst he was in the ring. And he won the fight. Regardless of what anybody says, regardless of what all the MMA crowd would like to think, he still lost the fight. So he loses the fight, but now he gets another big opportunity to go in against Anthony Joshua. So hold on a minute. We're given a big opportunity to Francis Ngannou, who lost. Well, why not just give the same opportunity to Deontay Wilder, who also lost in convincing fashion to Joseph Parker on December 23rd? Why not just give it to him? Why not just let Deontay Wilder fight off against Anthony Joshua? Because we're talking about money, and we're talking about the wet dreams here of Saudi Arabia. They want Francis Ngannou back in the ring. They want a top name to fight against him. They want to draw the eyes into a boxing event. I get it. But this is not for the good of boxing. I am adamant this is not good for boxing. This is not good for the future of boxing, because as soon as that money goes, and as soon as they turn their attention to another sport or other weight divisions, all of a sudden there's going to be a problem here. There's going to be a big void in the wake of this enthusiasm from Saudi Arabia. And what does it do to the immediate potential of Anthony Joshua to try and get another world title? It hurts it. It hurts it a lot, because all of a sudden you're putting yourself into a ring with a dangerous operator who catches you with a right or with a left, as we saw against Tyson Fury, and all of a sudden you could be in serious trouble. For what? For what? For an exhibition bout. A 10-round exhibition bout. Now, is it about the money? Well, Anthony Joshua doesn't need the money. He's got millions and millions in the bank anyway. He's going to earn, 30, 40, 50 million from this, I'm sure. Maybe not that much, but he'll certainly earn lots and lots of millions. Francis Ngannou will also do the same. But who's going to make the millions here? Well, it's the boxing promoters, isn't it? It's Eddie Hearn who's pushing for this fight. But it does nothing for Anthony Joshua. I think he's made a terrible mistake here, trying to fight Francis Ngannou, to keep the fires burning, to keep the interest alive in Anthony Joshua, in the name, in the brand. Whilst we wait for the IBF title to be vacated, therefore he can fight Hrgović, we would assume now, for that crown. But there are other fighters, other boxers that he could easily fight in the meantime that have a lot of credibility, bring the credentials, and have earned their dues, have paid their dues to get to where they are. Now, for me, a great fight for Anthony Joshua would be him against Zhilei Zhang. That would be a fantastic fight. I would put my money down for the pay-per-view for that. But Francis Ngannou, no chance. No chance. I'm so adamant, so against this fight, you would not believe. I'm even more against this than when Ngannou fought Tyson Fury. Because I accepted that as a one-off gimmick fight. And I accepted that he was leapfrogging everybody just to have this little interim bout against Tyson Fury whilst he finally negotiates with Usyk for the undisputed. I got that. But now we're writing off the whole tradition, the whole system, the whole boxing system, just so we can let somebody who's a former UFC heavyweight champion just to leapfrog everybody just to get into the ring. I totally disagree with that. If you want Francis Ngannou to be a legitimate contender in boxing, he has to pay his dues. I don't care what his name is. I don't care what his record is or what his story is. He has to fight other boxers. He has to fight at that British level, at that European level, at that outer side world level, top 15 world level, top 20 world level, let's say. He has to fight the likes of Wallin, Helenius, Franklin, who Joshua has fought and beaten in the last year. That's who he has to fight. He has to fight that lower tier heavyweight first and foremost. Then he gets the big shot against the likes of Hrgović, Zhilei Zhang, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Usyk, whichever name you want to pull out of the hat. Thereafter, you can claim a legitimate shot at the title or at climbing the rankings. But right now, he's just leapfrogging everybody, and the system and the money makers and the promoters, they're allowing him to do it. Now, this is not about sour grapes, and this is certainly not about depriving anybody an opportunity. Far from it. This is about doing it right, and also what's best for Anthony Joshua, and also what's best thereafter for Tyson Fury or Usyk, and whoever they're going to fight, if indeed they have a rematch or they don't have a rematch. Otherwise, you might just bring anybody in from another sport. Let's say bring in a sumo wrestler. Bring in a sumo wrestler. Just put him in the ring with Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury and see how they do. Oh, yeah, bosh, bosh, bosh. Oh, yeah, top 12, top 15, top 10 for you, Mr. Sumo Wrestler. There we go. You're a heavyweight contender. You can't really box. You're a novice at best. But all of a sudden, no, yeah, we're going to give you top 15 status. Absolute farce. Now, I understand money talks and bullshit walks. I understand. I know what Eddie Hearn is doing here. And I know what Anthony Joshua is doing here as well. Yeah, he's keeping the fires burning and he's having a massive fight because he doesn't want to be relegated to the back seat whilst Tyson Fury and Usyk are occupying the front seats. I get it. I get it. He wants to be right in the front row. But this is not the way to do it. If you wanted to keep your name right in the front row, if you wanted to be a legitimate title contender to get your third world championship crown, you need to fight another proper boxer and not entertain a gimmick fight, which you called these fights gimmicks before. AJ, you called the Tyson Fury and Ngannou fight a gimmick. Ngannou's own self-promotion company is Gimmick Promotions or whatever it is. It's just a farce. For me, Ngannou has to earn his stripes. He has to get in the ring with other boxers, build up quite quickly, and then he can start fighting Anthony Joshua, all the likes of Anthony Joshua, Hrgovic, Zhilei Zhang, or anybody else. But not right away. It just makes a farce of the whole thing. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Should this fight go ahead? Of course it's going to go ahead because money talks and everything else can go do one. But as far as I'm concerned, this should not be happening. And just because Saudi Arabia want this, it doesn't mean that everybody should just doff their cap and say, thanks very much, yeah, we'll do whatever you want. Totally against this fight, and I still think it's absolute nonsense of a fight. If you agree, give us a thumbs up. If you disagree, well, give us a thumbs down. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But Anthony Joshua against Francis Ngannou, not for me. Not for me. Let's get back to proper boxing, shall we? Let's get back to proper boxers duking it out to climb the ranks and go for a world title fight proper. Not just let any old Tom, Dick and Harry come in, leapfrog everybody else and go for a potential world title fight, because this could happen. Ngannou could, yeah, I suppose on the balance of probability, yeah, there's always an outside chance that he could beat Anthony Joshua. Then what next? Oh yeah, well, he deserves a world title fight. Why? Why does he deserve a world title fight? Just because he's beaten somebody? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, and it should never work like that. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But this fight, not for me. Catch you again. RevelatorAlf. It's 2024 and the new motorcycles are coming. Let's get into it. So 2024 has started and we are waiting for all the manufacturers to give us their motorcycles, IRL, motorcycles in real life. Yes, we're going to be able to see them, ride them, touch them, and give our opinions on them as well. But now we're waiting for Harley Davidson, who are going to do their live launch on January 24th, and it's going to be 10 a.m. somewhere in the world. Whenever they do this online on their website as well, and you can go there and sign up for it as well. Now, I, just like many other YouTubers, have given our kind of predictions or the little snippets of information that we've heard, or a lot of what I've said is I've, tried to make it painfully clear that this is just rumor or this is just idle nonsense. But hey, who knows what's going to happen until we actually see on the live launch exactly what's going to happen. Are they going to release all their new motorcycles then? Are there going to be engine changes? Are there going to be fairing changes? That kind of thing. We already know that they've changed their colors. Well, there's no surprise there. They do that every year. Vivid black has gone off the standard color list and now it's an optional extra. I think that's a bit of a mistake as well, because I like black, and black's my favorite color, as you know if you ever watch my channel. But all these other colors, well, they're a bit, yeah, they're all right. I mean, I wouldn't say they're horrible, but also I wouldn't say they're the best in the world. They got a funny looking red color for a lot of the bikes as well, which is not for me. But one of the things I wanted to raise up in this video was a lot of YouTube channels that I've watched recently in the last week, because I haven't made a video in about 2 or 3 weeks really. I just wanted to draw the attention of you guys out there, where quite a few of the channels are saying that the 107 engine is going to be scrapped. And this is, I kind of tried to make this comparison every year as well, because what certain YouTube channels say is only about the market in which they know as well. So I'll give you an example. Many years ago we were talking about the Sport Glide. The Sport Glide was going to be got rid of and everything, and then that was only for the United States market. Actually, around the world, Sport Glide was still continuing strong. We're talking about the Breakout a few years ago. Breakout disappeared, but actually in the UK it was still being sold. This is the 114 Breakout and not the 117 I'm talking about here. Now, I've also talked about lots of other motorcycles that are sold in the United States but not sold around the world as well. So sometimes these YouTube channels, they talk about things that are actually not relevant or they don't happen around the world. Here's another classic example here, where many of the YouTube channels in the last week or so, and these are well-known YouTube channels as well, who predominantly deal in the Harley Davidson world as well. They've talked about the 107 engine that's going to be scrapped, or they feel that it's going to be scrapped. And yeah, look, that's fine. It's a good punt. It's a good prediction to say, look, we're going to get rid of the 107 engine. But the problem is that these are American YouTube channels, right? I've got nothing against them. They do some good stuff. I don't have an issue with that at all. But they're saying that the 107 engine is going to be scrapped. But we already know in the last week or 10 days that Harley Davidson have launched their 2024 bikes that are carrying over. In other words, they're just the 2023 bikes that were being sold. They're also going to be sold in 2024. So they called them the 2024 bikes. One of the bikes on the American list is the Softail Standard. The Softail Standard does have a 107 engine. So I don't understand why a lot of these YouTube accounts are saying, oh, the 107 engine is being scrapped. Well, how can it be being scrapped if you've got one of the bikes that still has that 107 engine? Now, if on the live launch, Harley Davidson suddenly turn around and say, well, the Softail Standard is now going to be scrapped, or the Softail Standard is not going to have the 107 engine, it's going to have the 114 engine, then why release on the websites already all around the world that the 2024 Softail Standard will be with the 107 engine? It makes no sense. Now, I get it. A lot for the American market. Some of the motorcycles were still using the 107 engine. Some of the base models, some of the standard models. And this happened over the years as well. You'd have a base model bike, and then it was slowly but surely across the model ranges, all various bikes are within a model range, it would disappear, right? Or a certain size engine or a certain element would disappear. So this is what's happened to the 107. Yeah, you could say, yeah, the 107 is disappearing, but it's still there. Now, I want to draw your attention back to European markets or markets around the world where the Softail Standard is going to be sold for 2024, which is the 107 engine. But also, guess what? As of now, as of the recording of this video, the Sport Glide, which I ride as well, is also still going to be sold as well. That's got the 107 engines. That's two engines. That's two bikes with the 107 engine. That's still going to be sold. So the 107 engine isn't going to be scrapped. The other thing that I want to draw your attention to is the Pan America. The Pan America was said to be that the Pan America was only going to be sold in the special variant. Now, that could be true for the United States, because on the website, they've only got the 1250S Pan America, but they don't have the standard or the Pan America 1250. In Europe, the 2024 lineup of the Pan America does still include the standard and also the special as well. So I just want to draw your attention that actually what happens in the United States may not be happening around the world, and what certain YouTube channels might be telling you, yes, may be true for certain markets, but it doesn't mean it's going to be true for everywhere else, of course. Okay, let's just talk about the reveals so far. Well, I've been kind of really uninspired by a lot of this. I'm uninspired by the colours, I've got to say. I'm uninspired by what I've seen so far, and also uninspired by, well, any of it really, any of the rumours. I mean, some of the things I've already said. We've talked about the another size baby Pan America, which I kind of talked about for the Chinese market, and potentially another off-road variant for the Indian market as well. Whether that smaller size Pan America will come to European markets or even to the American markets, I'm not sure that's going to happen, I would say. Certainly not with that bike. Would Harley Davidson make a smaller Revolution Max engine Pan America? Well, we already talked about the 975, but I've always said the market is actually in the smaller bikes now. The 500cc, 600, 700cc bike. So whether Harley Davidson will go that way, I do not know. I think that would be a pretty bold step. But if you're in the adventure bike world, then that's kind of where it's at a little bit as well. They're a lot lighter, they can do a lot more as well, and you're going to have a lot more fun on them. So maybe they might surprise everybody with that. Who knows? We can all guess about different engine sizes for various bikes, and whether the engines that are currently there, whether they would get variable valve timing, whether on the 114s, 117s. I've said all this in previous videos about 2 or 3 months ago as well. This is kind of what we were hearing a long time ago, but who knows if this will really happen. But there's a lot of information, as is always the case, where some people are kind of on point, that it's logical thinking, and there's a lot where I just so way off base, with a lot of stuff. Even with the logical thinking, you say this is just a wild stab in the dark, this is just a guess. One of the things that I talked about a week or 2 weeks ago, actually just before Christmas, and I made a video, was what I'd heard about 6 or 7 weeks prior to that was of a race bike or a track bike that was used in the King of the Baggers, and whether they would release that as well. Well, apparently that's still going to happen as well. Now, whether this will be revealed in January the 24th, or whether it's going to be released in the year, who knows. We talked about 750 bikes as well with a Revolution Max engine. I would not be surprised if Harley Davidson say, right, we've got another 2 bikes with a Revolution Max engine. We've got all the bikes in the Softails and the touring lineup. Hey, guess what? We're going to have these engines, and maybe we can have variable valve timing here. We're going to have new engines or engine upgrades and infotainment upgrades for the Tourers as well. So I would not be surprised if that's the way it goes. But in terms of brand new models, brand new bikes, I would not be surprised if we're only talking about one motorcycle, one brand new motorcycle. And I still believe that there's going to be a big backlash against Harley Davidson for the prices that they're charging on their bikes. Yes, we know they're expensive bikes, and just because you call them out for being expensive doesn't make you a hater. It just means that you're saying it as it is. Most people are not going to be able to afford these prices. Yes, it doesn't mean that you can't go into the used bike world and try and buy a Harley Davidson of your choice. Granted, but we're talking about new sales. New sales is what keeps the company going. It keeps the financial wheels turning. You need new bike sales, and if they're too expensive and people are still feeling the pinch, guess what? I'm not saying that their sales figures are suddenly going to fall off a cliff, but they have been hindered in 2023 with poor sales. So that could continue into 2024 if they really don't address that. Now, we've already seen that the Nightsters for 2024, they've reduced the price a little bit, I believe, in the United States. I haven't really checked the difference between 2023 prices and 2024 prices for Europe, but let's just say they're at the same level or thereabouts. Well, still, they are still quite expensive for those bikes as well. Now, of course, people say, well, if you want a Harley Davidson, you're going to have to pay for it. I've never bought into that. I've never bought into that argument of buying into an overinflated product just because it's got a name. You have to deliver on build quality, on performance, and all these other aspects as well. But Harley Davidson, yeah, they make great bikes. I'm a fan as well. Of course I am. I own one. Does it mean I think that everything that they do is fantastic? No. Does it mean I'm a big fan of everything they do or the overall strategy? No. Am I concerned for them as a company? Do I think they could get into trouble, financial trouble, over the next couple of years if they don't sort themselves out? Yeah, I do. But that's only an opinion. It doesn't mean there's any merit in that argument. It's just an opinion. But of what I can see coming and what I've seen other YouTube accounts saying could come as well, I'm kind of a bit uninspired. I'm kind of a bit, I'm not buying it so much this year. And I think couple that with the high prices, I'm kind of thinking, yeah. Now, I talked about this in the run up to Christmas as well. I talked about this in various videos about, if I wanted to buy another bike, would I be able to justify buying a brand new Harley Davidson, even if I really liked it, like a Street Glide Special or Road King Special or something like that? Would I go and buy a brand new Harley Davidson? The answer would be no. So if you look at me as an indication of any of the buyers out there, there'll be many people saying, yeah, I want to buy a Harley Davidson. Yeah, I like them, but I'm just not paying those prices. And with what they've got on offer, I'm just not that interested. I'll just go and buy a Street Glide with a 114 engine from a couple of years ago. I'll be happy with that, or a Road King Special, or a Sport Glide, or Street Bob from 3 or 4 years old. I'm perfectly happy with that. I don't have to have this brand new bike. So if we're just getting much of the same in terms of models, but yeah, with different engine sizes, I just don't think that's going to be enough to really inspire people to go out in their masses. And I'm talking about masses here, masses to go into dealerships and put their money down on brand new bikes. Of course that's going to happen. You're still going to have people who are going to be really excited about buying brand new bikes, and maybe with a different fairing change, you know, to match the CVOs and all that kind of stuff, and infotainment system to match the CVOs. Yeah, I get that. People are going to want to do that, but not in their numbers. So what of a brand new model? Will they launch one new? But I think they're going to launch one brand new model in the Revolution Max engine bikes, in the sport bikes. I think that's where it's going to be. My kind of gut feeling here is that they're going to do something that we've kind of been expecting or hoping for a while. I've talked about this in previous videos. I think that's where they really need to step it up, is the Revolution Max engine bikes, more models. Now, how many will they bring out? I think it's only going to be one maximum. I'll be surprised if they bring out two brand new bikes. I think it's only going to be one brand new bike, a bike that we've never seen before. I think all the changes are going to be the engines, which I've kind of predicted way back in November, October time, I think it was. And yeah, there's going to be some aesthetic changes. We've already seen the color changes. That's about it. We're not going to see much more. Then later on in the year, as they drip feed new models, that's when we're going to see different bikes come out potentially. But I think we're going to see more models from China and from India for Harley Davidson. Definitely we'll see those. We'll probably see one bike from the Revolution Max series of bikes, and then we'll get engine changes for everything else. I'm kind of a bit uninspired. I've got to say, this is not me being a hater. You might call me a hater. This is not me being a hater. This is just an honest opinion. I would much rather they did something in the Softails and brought out a brand new bike, maybe bought one out in the Revolution Max, and maybe bought some other kind of tourer out as well. I've thought for a long time, and I'm sure many people would disagree, but a Revolution Max engine as a touring bike, or a Revolution Max engine as a Softail cruiser bike, I think could work, and it would kind of match up with what Indian have been doing as well. I'm not saying that Harley Davidson need to compete or even better Indian, but Indian seem to have bikes that Harley Davidson don't seem to have. BMW have bikes that Harley Davidson don't have. So I think if you want to really occupy this space and just blow everybody out of the water and blow your competition away, I think you need to expand on the bikes that they offer. And that would be my advice, or my suggestion to them. I say, not my advice, my suggestion would say, look, you need to kind of occupy the space a lot better and not just look at the traditional means, but you need to, you know, make your bikes more affordable as well, and maybe just offer bikes that people are really going to want to ride. And sometimes that means culling the line as well, getting rid of a few bikes, and maybe just making it more simple. At the point of purchase, you can say, right, I'll have that bike and I'll want it in that color, that engine size, and you can just pre-order it from the factory as well. And it comes within a couple of months. Instead of buying a standard bike, which you have to later customize, why not just order the bike as you want it from the factory and say, I want it with these kind of handlebars, I want it with these exhaust pipes, I want it with that seat, so on and so forth. Yeah, and make it more customizable at source rather than having to do that afterwards. Hey, listen, that could be a way of bringing in more people, because people are looking at the cost of these things and saying, well, look, I have to buy the bike, but then I have to spend another X amount of $1,000, pounds, shekels just to make it what I want. Why can't I just do that at the point of sale? I'll just order the bike, customize it as I want, and it's delivered to me as I want it. That's the way they should be going for me. But listen, let me know your thoughts about what's coming up. Are you really looking forward to the January launch day? I've got to say, of what I'm feeling about it, a little bit uninspired. Just a little bit uninspired. But hey, listen, we could all be proven wrong, and we could all be hit by wow on one day as they reveal exactly what's coming. But I've got a feeling we won't. Let us know your thoughts. Catch you again. Bye now. RevelatorAlf. The likes of Logan Paul and KSI are just low-life scum. They're a bunch of liars. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to the channel. So this video is all about Logan Paul. And if you don't know who he is, well, get onto the internet and find out who he is. Basically, he very recently announced that he was going to try and pay back everybody who kind of got scammed out of his crypto zoo, Bitcoin-y crypto thing that he set up a couple of years ago. It all went to the wall, and then he's been ducking and diving the whole time. But he's not going to be paying everybody back. He's not going to be buying everybody back. In fact, most of the investment that went into that crypto zoo was for a zoo coin that was supposed to support the game so that they could buy these NFTs. This is all stuff that I don't understand. All this crypto nonsense I don't understand. But it sounds like a scam. And guess what? He's got form here because he's done quite a few of these pump and dump things where he invents something online in the crypto space, suddenly gives it a lot of enthusiasm, inflates it, gets the price right up there, then suddenly sells his stock. He goes away with a nice healthy profit, and everybody's left with valueless items. It's just a con. He's done it 3 or 4 times. I don't know. But whatever it is, he's done it a few times. This crypto zoo is just failed on its arse as well. He's said so many lies. He's threatened so many people with lawsuits and all this kind of stuff until he's been called out time and time again. Now, we know that Logan Paul and his brother Jake Paul, they're not exactly the greatest of characters, let's say. But Logan Paul, he's kind of morphed into this caricature of this WWE wrestler, which he does. But he does it in real life. You just look at the way he talks, analyze the way he talks as well. It's a show. It's a facade, the whole thing. He's got a big business with KSI, and KSI's manager, Mams Taylor, and I believe is involved, and a few other people. But they've got this Prime drinks, right? And Prime is going everywhere. Prime here, sponsorship there, sponsor this footballer, sponsor this other athlete here. So they're everywhere, right? And I've tried it. It's not that great. I mean, if you're a kid, you might like it, but I certainly don't like it, right? Okay, fine. So KSI, who once really hated Logan Paul, who slated him for all the horrible things that he used to do. Let's not forget some of the horrible things, like filming tragic people who went off into a Japanese forest to commit suicide, and you thought, oh, that's a really good idea, let me go and video that. And what kind of a scumbag does that? What kind of a scumbag? Have people forgotten that? Oh no. And then you got other people, and this is where I take umbrage with people who won't out these people just because they think they can bask in their sunlight a little bit. Oh, yeah, they're my friend. Oh, they're trying to make do on what they did before. Oh, he's a really good guy, really. The likes of True Geordie as well, which I kind of like True Geordie in the kind of content that he produces. And he's very critical on other people. But all of a sudden, one of your mates, who's one of the most heinous people out there, who's the biggest scammers, and he's not a very nice person, put it that way. You never say anything against him. I mean, you're just as bad as they are. You're just as bad as Logan Paul if you don't out him for what he is, whether he's your mate or not. Or basically, you just want to keep on in his good books so you can just build your brand at all. You've had your own problems as well, True Geordie. But hey, guess what? By you not coming out and exposing Logan Paul for what he's done in the past, but also what he's doing now, kind of shows the person that you are as well. And let's not forget here, you're doing the same with KSI. Some of the crap that he's pulled over the last year or two, you haven't actually gone after him, have you? Because guess what? You're his mate as well, and you've got back into the fold, into the Misfits boxing fold, which you were out of it for a while. For the last sort of 6 months or 8 months, you've got back into it. So all of a sudden, KSI's your mate, Logan Paul's your mate, Jake Paul's your mate. Everybody's your mate apart from the Furies, Tyson Fury, Tommy Fury, if you've fallen out with. So all of a sudden, you've got a gang of people on the internet world, on YouTube, and they're operating on Twitter, X, or whatever the fuck you call it, Instagram, and all these places as well, and they're all backing each other up. KSI then comes out and backs Logan Paul and saying that everybody who's basically criticising Logan Paul is a hater. No, everybody who's having a go at Logan Paul and the likes of you for calling you out when you do something wrong, that is not a hater. A hater is somebody who just criticises you without merit. A hater is somebody who just hates on you for whatever reason, who will troll you. But not somebody who comes out and tries to show everybody what you've done is actually wrong. And they are right. It's not as if this is a personal vendetta. They are showing, no, you are wrong. You have said this, you have done this, and you are wrong. There are accounts out there who've tried to do this. They've tried to show exactly what's what, and they've come under attack by the fans of Logan Paul and the fans of KSI and all that kind of stuff. And what an absolute load of nonsense that is. These characters need to be shown up for what they really are. I have no time for the likes of Logan Paul because I've kind of studied him a little bit over the last year as well, and some of the actions that they've done. And just a weasel, just an absolute weasel. Jake Paul, I have a lot more time for Jake Paul, who's tried to go to the legitimate route as well of boxing. I have a lot more time for him. KSI, I have no time for him whatsoever. And the problem is that, especially here in the UK, he's one of, if not the biggest YouTuber, isn't he, right? So all these other YouTubers, all these other content creators also want to bask in his sunlight as well, because guess what? If they can get close to KSI, all of a sudden, hey, their value will go up. They get more subscribers. They get more views as well. Hey, potentially there's a collaboration option here with KSI. All of a sudden, hey, maybe I'll start earning more money. Maybe I'll become more famous. Maybe I'll become as famous as KSI. What an absolute load of shit this is. Basically, KSI is saying that everybody who criticizes Logan Paul, oh, they're all haters. What are they going to say now? What, just because Logan Paul all of a sudden after a year of heavy criticism is coming out and saying, no, I'm going to pay everybody back now. Yeah, up until next month, I'm going to pay everybody back. No, you're not. You're not going to pay everybody back. It's an absolute farce. You're all liars and you're all backing each other up. And the YouTube accounts out there who are not calling it as it is and not saying it as it is, you're just as bad as them. YouTube is not about creating lies. It's not about trying to sell stuff to people that they really don't want. But guess what? It's become the biggest selling platform out there. Oh yeah, you want to be an influencer. Oh yeah, let's get onto here. Let's diversify here. Let's take all my audience here and get them to go and watch me do some boxing or go and watch me sell a soft drink here or there. These all started off as kids. They started off on YouTube and whatever other platform they're on, and they've built up. They got the millions of followers. They started doing podcasts and they've grown up, but still fundamentally they are broken individuals. They are individuals who cannot see right from wrong. Because if they saw right from wrong, they certainly wouldn't go off into a forest and start filming dead people. They certainly wouldn't be attacking other YouTubers just for an opinion. They certainly wouldn't be hurling racist slurs against a minority population here in the UK and then all of a sudden offering some kind of apology, as KSI did, against the Pakistani community over here. Oh no, we're supposed to forget that, are we? We're supposed to forget what the likes of True Georgie said in the past. And yeah, look, he's atoned for what he did, and I commend him for that. But at the same time, you might atone in one place, but you're also still making the same errors in another place as well. Again, I have a lot of time for the likes of True Geordie on his football shows and his fighting shows and his general podcast stuff. Yeah, I quite like it. But it doesn't mean I have to agree with his position. It certainly doesn't mean that I have to agree with anything that he says. And it certainly doesn't mean that I'm not going to call him and the likes of him out when they don't call out others for doing the wrong things, for doing the wrong thing, for saying the wrong thing. What is it about these people that younger people are fascinated by, and then all of a sudden they're going to follow along and you're going to get scammed? If you follow these people, you're going to get scammed. It's as simple as that. Let's not forget here that the likes of KSI, the likes of Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and all these other really big YouTubers who are trying to manipulate you, they're trying to get your money, and they're trying to do it for their own reasons, their own wealth. They don't care about you. They don't care about creating content for you. They don't care about the YouTube as it used to be, let's say, about having fun, about bringing your own ideas, about bringing your own opinions, about showing yourself YouTube. No, they don't care about that. What they care about is growing their wealth, growing their influence and their influence over you. And that's what they've been doing. And now they're just backing each other up. When they're being called out by various different other YouTube accounts or getting slaughtered on Twitter or something like that, basically all they're doing is they're just closing ranks. They're closing ranks so that, hey, listen, let's go into business with each other. It causes a shitstorm, and then, oh, guess what? Our soft drink is going to sell for millions. I'm going to get into crypto zoo or any kind of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, and I'm just going to, talk a load of nonsense about this and talk about NFTs and all this sort of stuff that nobody really understands, but you're going to try and get people to go along with a journey with you. All the while, you're not really invested in this yourself. You might say you are, but you're not, because if you were, you wouldn't bail out straight away, and you wouldn't hide what was really going on behind closed doors, or you certainly wouldn't wait months and months and months, and you certainly wouldn't try and threaten other YouTubers for trying to expose you and then suddenly back down afterwards as well. The likes of CoffeeZilla. Other YouTubers in the UK like Kavos, he's calling them out as well. And I've been sitting here just watching all this unfold for a couple of years now. But I've been, especially the likes of KSI and Logan Paul, I kind of been looking at and others of their ilk as well and saying it's all bullshit. It's all lies. Everything that they say is all lies. And unfortunately, a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of YouTube accounts, it's all lies. It's all smoke and mirrors. They're not telling you what they really think. They're not telling you what they're really about. They're just trying to play to the YouTube algorithm. They're just trying to show you, hey, listen, I'm going to say this because I know it's going to get me more clicks and more views and everything like that. They're going to take up a position, whether it's a positive position or a negative position. They're never going to take a balanced position on any topic because, hey, a balanced topic, guess what? It doesn't create views. But if you take a negative approach or an overly positive approach, if you polarize your argument, then all of a sudden, guess what? That's what happens. Hey, guess what? I'm also going to sell this bag, or I'm going to sell this, or I'm going to sell that. And maybe you should too. Maybe you should buy this stuff as well. Hey, come and support me here, and let's get into boxing. Let's get into that as well. It's all a load of farce. KSI gets beaten by Tommy Fury, and he was beaten, and he went to appeal, and he still got beaten. Guess what? He throws his toys out the pram. Oh, he can't believe that he got beat. Yeah, because you can't fight, you can't box. You're an absolute crap boxer. But it's all good to give it all that, isn't it? Before the fight, I'm the nightmare. I will destroy you. No, you're crap. You're a crap fighter. You're a crap YouTuber, and basically you've been pulling the wool over too many people's eyes for too long. And also, you're backing your mate up, Logan Paul, when he's fleecing everybody as well. You're all a bunch of liars. You're all scum, really, in my opinion. Absolute scum. And anybody who believes any of their stuff should really take a long, hard look at themselves as well. These people cannot be trusted. And I can safely say that, or have an opinion, because all this is, I'm having an opinion based upon what I've observed and how they've acted over the last few years. If you really look at their history, and if you really look at what they've done and how they've acted, they're a bunch of narcissists. They're a bunch of people that you definitely would not invite around for dinner, and you definitely would not leave them in a room full of silver, because guess what? When you come back from making the tea, they would have pissed off, and so would your silver as well. And they'd probably come after you in social media land, hey, for even daring to accuse them that they even stole your silver. Well, I'll tell you what, they did. They've done it time and time again, whether literally, metaphorically, spiritually. They've done it, they're doing it, and they'll no doubt continue to do it, especially when the likes of True Geordie and other big platforms out there here in the UK don't have the decency to call them out, or even just ask the question on a video and say, hey, listen, this is wrong. This should have been done a lot better. They should have done a lot better. Not wait weeks and weeks and maybe just say something in passing. No, you should be there front and centre and say, listen, this is wrong. They're my mates. I like them on a personal level, but what they've done here is wrong. And if you've got any integrity as a YouTuber, guess what? That's exactly what you do. And hopefully there'll be a lot more people out there who's willing to come out on YouTube and willing to come out on any of these creative platforms, social media platforms, and actually, hey, call it as it is. These people just need to be called out and shown for what they really are. That's all I have to say. Catch you again. Bye now.